Long before the pyramids, before Rome, before even the first written word, there was a time shrouded in mystery. Prehistory, a time when humans hunted with stone tools, painted on cave walls, and slowly began the long journey to civilization. But the truth is, the story of prehistory is far stranger and far more fascinating than most people realize. Hi everyone, welcome to History Untold. Today, we uncover the secrets of prehistoric times, the hidden chapters of humanity's origins that shaped who we are today. Part 1. What is prehistory? Let's start with a big question. When exactly does prehistory end? Well, it's pretty simple. It ends when people started recording their history in written language. Before that, all our ancestors had were rocks and walls, so they wrote their stories on those instead. We call those writings history. Unfortunately, almost all of that early history has been lost to time. Most of it was written on papyrus, clay tablets or paper, all things that break down in a couple hundred years. So unless you want to learn about Egyptian pharaohs from a single scrap of papyrus found by chance, we have to look further back for our history. That's right, you heard me correctly. Parchment, papyrus, those things disintegrate after a couple hundred years. So if you wanted to learn about what happened in Egypt 2,000 years ago, chances are you'd be out of luck. All those records are gone. Now, prehistory is pretty much anything that happened before writing was invented, which happened at different times around the world. The earliest writing that we know of comes from Mesopotamia around 3200 BC. But writing didn't arrive in Greece until around 700 BC, and here in the Americas, writing didn't get going until the Maya invented it around 500 BC. So if you're going to learn about prehistory, you've got a lot of time to cover. In general, we divide prehistory into 3 ages: the Stone Age, the Bronze Age, and the Iron Age. We divide these ages based on what technology humans were using at the time. The Stone Age lasts from roughly 2.6 million years ago until about 3300 BC. This covers the whole time before humans developed bronze tools. The Bronze Age lasted from about 3300 BC until about 1200 BC, when humans worked with bronze, an alloy of copper and tin. Finally, the Iron Age started around 1200 BC and ended when writing was invented. We know quite a bit about the Stone Age because it lasted so long and it covered so many different humans and cultures. Plus, there's a lot of evidence left behind from that time. Most of the archaeological record is from the Stone Age, and while we move into the Bronze Age and Iron Age, the amount of records we have starts to skyrocket. Part 2. The first humans. The story of prehistory begins in Africa. The first hominins, or early humans that walked upright, arrived on the scene around 6 million years ago. Hominins evolved from earlier primates over millions of years. During the Stone Age, many different kinds of hominins lived across the world. The first members of the Homo genus appeared around 2.5 million years ago in Africa. Homo habilis is the name we give to the first members of our genus, the handyman. Handyman is a nickname given to an extinct species of early humans, Homo habilis, who lived in Africa during the Lower Paleolithic period of the Stone Age. Their name means handyman or skillful man in Latin. They were among the first members of the Homo genus known for using primitive stone tools. Homo habilis lived approximately between 2.4 and 1.6 million years ago. This was during the early phase of the Stone Age. They were small, no taller than about 4 feet, 9 inches. But they had large brains compared to earlier hominids. They lived in groups and were probably social creatures. They were also adaptable, thriving in different environments from grasslands to forests. But it was Homo erectus who made the great leap forward. They were the first hominid to discover how to control fire, which helped them cook food, stay warm, and protect themselves from predators. Imagine for a moment the terror of being an early human without fire. Imagine cold nights surrounded by the darkness, the fear of predators lurking close by. Now imagine discovering fire, the warmth spreading through your bones, the safety of a flickering flame pushing back the darkness. That discovery must have seemed magical. Fire also helped early humans cook food, which made it safer and easier to eat. It also gave our ancestors the ability to gather at night, telling stories and planning for the next day. Homo erectus also ventured out of Africa, traveling through the Middle East and into Europe and Asia. They made more advanced stone tools and were skilled hunters. Homo sapiens, that's our species, are believed to have evolved in Africa around 300,000 years ago. This makes them the youngest of the hominins, yet they became the only surviving human species, outliving the Neanderthals and Denisovans. So what made us so successful? Maybe it was our adaptability, our intelligence, or our ability to work together. Or maybe it was a combination of all 3. Part 3. The mystery of the Neanderthals. For centuries, Neanderthals were portrayed as brutish cavemen, but recent discoveries tell a very different story. They were skilled hunters who lived in Europe and parts of Asia during the Ice Age. They used tools, buried their dead, and may have even had religion. In fact, they had a culture just like ours. In 2010, scientists made a shocking discovery in Spain's El Sidrón cave. They found evidence that Neanderthals used red ochre, a natural pigment, to paint their bodies. This suggests they valued aesthetics, creativity, and maybe even rituals. The discovery of Neanderthal DNA in the genomes of many people outside of Africa suggests that Neanderthals and humans interbred. This means that some of us might have Neanderthal blood flowing through our veins. They weren't our enemies. They were part of our family tree. Part 4. The Dawn of Creativity. Our ancestors weren't just surviving, they were creating. The cave paintings of Lascaux in France and Altamira in Spain are some of the most breathtaking examples of prehistoric art. These paintings show bison, horses, and hunters frozen in mid-action. They're not just pictures, they're a window into the minds of our ancestors. Why did they paint? Some believe it was spiritual, a way to summon animals for the hunt. Others think it was storytelling, the first human attempt to capture life and memory. Whatever the reason, it shows that prehistoric humans were thinking, creating, and dreaming. Part 5. The Agricultural Revolution. Around 10,000 years ago, something revolutionary happened. Humans shifted from hunting and gathering to farming. In the Fertile Crescent of the Middle East, people began planting wheat and barley. Villages grew, permanent homes were built, and animals were domesticated. This was the Neolithic Revolution, and it changed everything. Farming meant food surpluses, which allowed populations to grow. It meant specialization, trade, and eventually the rise of cities. In just a few thousand years, humanity leapt from caves to civilizations. But this revolution also brought problems: social hierarchies, disease, and warfare. Part 6. Megaliths and Mysteries. Even before written history, humans built astonishing monuments. Stonehenge in England, erected around 5,000 years ago, aligns perfectly with the site. Who built it, and why? Was it a temple, a calendar, or something more mysterious? Across the world, other megaliths appear. From Göbekli Tepe in Turkey, one of the oldest temples in existence, to mysterious stone circles in Africa. These sites suggest that prehistoric people had complex beliefs, astronomy, and engineering skills long before civilization officially began. Part 7. Lessons from Prehistory. Prehistory is a story of survival, creativity, and change. It's a reminder that humans are adaptable, imaginative, and persistent. It's a story of progress, yes, but also of challenges. From the invention of tools to the domestication of animals, each step was a leap into the unknown. Every sunrise was a battle against the elements, every meal a victory over hunger. But with each challenge, humans learned, adapted, and grew. And now it's your turn to write the next chapter of the story. What do you find most fascinating about prehistory? Which eras or discoveries sparked your curiosity? Share your thoughts in the comments below. And thank you for joining me on this journey through time. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more History Untold. There's more to explore, more mysteries to uncover. The past is waiting for us to unearth its secrets. See you next time.